There's an interesting process that I go through when I watch The Trip with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. And I think the difference between the series and the movies kind of plays into this idea of what the show is all about. So I'm going to be talking about the series because I think the length of time that you get to spend with them, since it's more, it's kind of a reflection of all the serious things that are happening in the show. So the first part of the process that I go through when I watch it is that I'm just thoroughly entertained. I love watching these two comedians. They're so funny. I love watching the way their brains work, and when they interact, it's like watching two geniuses have a math off, or two great basketball players trading splashes in a game 7. You're watching two masters at work here. There's also the settings and the fun and the wine and the food, and they're going to beautiful places and traveling, and you get to see them meet people and connect with people, and it's really, in a good way, overwhelming at all the things that are happening. But the second part of the process is realizing that there's actually a huge drama going on there. It's watching two guys who are going through a midlife crisis in different ways, or for different reasons perhaps, and they're grappling with their age, and Coogan is grappling with career ambition versus Brydon's focus on his family, but they're both kind of dealing with these serious things about where their careers are at, what it all means. And at the same time, I think the impressions are a good sort of synopsis of what I'm trying to say, because the impressions are so good and so funny, but the impressions are kind of the tool that they use to push these larger issues away. And so the balance, even though it's very subtle, beautifully subtle, they balance these two really heavy parts of their life, and we get to see that unfold over 6 series and I think maybe 3 or 4 trips. There's also this heavy element of melancholia that feels linked to aging and regret, and how that contrasts with the beautiful settings and funny banter and the impressions, and that mixture is what gives it that, really genuine, real, heartfelt feel. You get that sense that you're not very often going to see a balance like that. But the subtlety here, the way that it's done subtly with the balance between the comedy and the genuine drama, is a beautiful thing to watch and to experience. And as you go through these series, you really feel like you're not just watching something, but you're experiencing it yourself. And you get to see how their relationship develops over time as well, because it kind of starts out a little competitive, and the jabbing is friendly, but it's a little sharper. But by the end, you get the sense that it's a genuine friendship and respect that they have for each other. And kind of in addition to all of that, the thing that sticks out the most to me is the simplicity of it. Two guys having dinner, taking walks, talking about things, meeting women, meeting people, talking about their careers. There isn't a William Friedkin car chase scene. There isn't a Michael Mann shootout. There isn't a Quentin Tarantino revenge plot. Those are all great things in their own way. But what I love about this is that you can just sit back with a cup of tea and watch all or most or a good chunk of life's beauty and problems and thoughtfulness and thoughtlessness and avoidance and embracing and friendship and relationships and how we are in the world and what we do and how it affects other people. All of these things are told through these small conversations that contain big things, but they're just small conversations over dinner and wine and maybe a few other trip-related activities like going swimming or taking walks. It's everything, everywhere, all at once, contained in this little element. And that's really the beauty of it. I mean, you could have a Tarkovsky-like version of this where you have two people in Russian sitting around talking about these life things, but it wouldn't have that comedic element to it. So to me, it's almost like looking at a piece of art. People can tell you why it's great, but if you don't like it, you don't like it. And I can watch The Trip without thinking too much about the dramatic side or the midlife crisis or the impressions coping with the deeper issues that they're trying to mask, or the melancholia, or the beauty of finding things and of family and friends and all that. But the fact is that you like it when you watch it. And that's, I think, one of the more important things. When you peel back the other layers, it's great, but to have both of these things and to be able to balance them well is really a great work of art. I just want to say one more thing quickly. There's a special thing that happens in the trip where they often recite Shakespeare or different playwrights or poets or thinkers. And there's a particular poem that comes to mind when I watch this, and I feel sort of emotionally connected to this series. And it's a poem by W.H. Auden called The Cave of Making. So while it doesn't completely apply to this situation, because he wrote this poem in memoriam of Louis MacNeice, who passed on, that's not the case with one of these great actors and comedians at the time of this recording, at least. But it is something that covers the themes within the show, which is aging and death and mortality. And so I think at a certain point it's going to become relevant, and it's something that they're thinking about. So it just kind of reminds me of this poem, and I'd like to read it for you. The Cave of Making by W.H. Auden. For some time now, the silence of this place has been a kind of music. The room I work in, this cave of making, where I sit and listen to the sounds of my own breathing and the scratching of pen on paper. It is a quiet world, a world where I am king, and yet a subject to the words that come and go, the thoughts that flicker like shadows on a wall. I think of you, my friend, and of the journeys we took together, the laughter and the talk, the poems we read and the poems we tried to write. You are gone now, into that other silence, the one that has no end. And I am left here, in this familiar cave, to carry on the work we both believed in. It is not easy, this business of making. The words are stubborn, the thoughts are often clouded, and the world outside is full of noise and fury. But here, in the stillness, there is a chance to catch a glimpse of something true and lasting, to shape a piece of reality into a form that might survive the passing of the years. There are many rooms in the house of poetry, each with its own light and its own particular silence. This one is mine, for now. It is a place where I can be myself, where I can face the truths that I have found, and the many more that elude me still. It is a place of labor, and also a place of peace. And so I work and wait and listen. I try to honor the gift that has been given, to be a man of honor, even in this small way. For I know that at the end, when all is said and done, there will be a reckoning. Even a limerick ought to be something a man of honor, awaiting death from cancer or a firing squad, could read without contempt. For, and this is my last word, God may reduce you on Judgment Day to tears of shame, reciting by heart the poems you would have written had your life been good. So, the trip, every single series, over the movies. The movies are great, but I think the series give you time to breathe. And it's good to experience how it was, how you see these things unfold over a longer period of time. I wish there were 10 more of these. I think they could keep going with this. I wish that they would. Maybe they will. But I highly recommend it. Now, at the time of this recording, it was on Criterion Collection. And when I woke up the next morning after finishing to rewatch it again, it was gone. So I don't know who decides those things or why. They put it in the vault. They take it out. It's kind of like an art museum, right? Yeah, they have more things in the vault than they do on display, and it's a shame. But The Trip with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon, it's a beautiful thing, especially if you're over 40 or you think about being over 40, even if you're not yet, and all the things that come with that. And I hope you enjoy it. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Please put it below and let's talk about it. That's the whole point of this podcast or this show, this channel, is just to talk about movies and the great things that we get from them and how we can apply them to our own lives, or should we apply them to our own lives. The art that we're watching, sometimes this channel's about, fun movies that don't have that deeper meaning, but they're just fun, and sometimes they're about the deeper ones, or both, or things like The Trip that beautifully balance subtly all of these elements together fantastically. If you could support the Patreon, I'll put a link below, and I look forward to seeing you in the comments.